Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie China. This is like a part two, right? Because I went back and I listened to a little bit more. Fani, her father, and Nathan, baby, when I tell you they gave the news cycle something to talk about, these three people ran complete spheres around this courtroom. Spheres, not circles. Like they were encompassed with these three people. Let's get into Fani and her first initial walk into court. I didn't even see this. Someone sent this to me today. Baby, hold on. So he's explaining everything that Mr. Wade said and what needs to be said. Look how Fani walked in there. Fani walked in there and put her hands on her hip and threw that paper on that table like she was in the kitchen. So what she's listening to is him saying everything they need to hear from her, right? And basically, she's like, no, not to Miss Merchant, give me them 3 documents, right? Because you know that Fani went through and debunked everything that was in the documents. But even with that being said, Fani, y'all need to understand, when I talked about it the other day, I thought that was the initial walk-in. Someone sent me this. She wasn't even asked to come into the courtroom yet because the attorney Merchant asked her how does she know to come in. She said she just heard it was over and she knew it was time. She bombarded the courtroom with demands. Now let's get into her boo, right? Now, I didn't realize this man was married or going through a divorce or separated at the time, right? So the question that they wanted answered, they talked about him entertaining her and her entertaining him. He answered yes to that, but no to the same thing. Let's get into it.
Relatively direct and explicit sexual relationships with a person other than your spouse during the course of the marriage, including the period of separation. That's pretty simple.
Sure. Let's see if that's something you can get him to admit.
You did have sexual relationships with someone other than your spouse during the course of the marriage and during the period of separation, which included up to May the 30th of 2023. Isn't that correct, sir?
My answer to this interrogatory is none. Is no.
So you're saying that you did not have sexual relationships with anyone outside of your marriage, and the period of separation is during the period, and you're answering the question to this interrogatory, correct, sir?
I'm saying during the course of my marriage, I did not have sexual relations to anyone, and this answer's no.
Well, again, Your Honor,
You can proceed, Mr.
we need a yes or no. Let's just get down to it. Did you or did you not, by May the 30th, 2023, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what you did is you answered no to that question, didn't you, or none, correct?
I didn't answer no to the question you just asked. I answered no to the interrogatory question.
And
I can't even lie, y'all. These people be making my head spin. But it just seems like whatever it is on that paper, Nathan is saying he did not do that. Now, he did have a bounce house situation with Fani on another situation. But whatever it is on that paper they trying to make him say yes to, he said no. Do these attorneys know the definitions of the words that are coming out of their mouths? This is insane. But let's keep going just a little bit more. Okay, before I go on. So they're trying to get him to say something, like I said, that he's not going to say. He said that his marriage was broken in 2015. So I'm guessing whatever he and Fani had, he wasn't with his wife. They were just separated, right? So he wasn't, I don't know if he wasn't in the house. I don't know what that meant, but it seemed like it was over. It was broken since 2015. Now let's go.
about the time period required to answer the interrogatory. Because what it says is, it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining and or drinking at any restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels, or persons' homes from the date of marriage to the present. You understand what the word present means?
I do.
And present means the filing on May the 30th, 2023. Isn't that right?
It is.
So as of May the 30th, 2023, you had done a lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
Well, hate to dance around the... the answer is yes, you did entertain Miss Willis, correct? Right?
Yes.
She's not your spouse at that time or any time, correct?
That's correct.
She's not related to you by blood or marriage, correct?
That's correct.
But you entertained her, right?
Yes.
And during the course from your marriage, the period of time up to the present, so the answer would have been, yes, I did entertain somebody, correct?
During the course of the marriage, no.
Mr. Wade.
Mr. Gillen, I think we've made our point. I think it speaks for itself, and we can save that for argument.
I'll just follow up with one quick question. Do you understand what the word present means?
It's like they didn't even read the discovery or what their assistant had typed up. Like it was like the paperwork had been switched overnight. He asked that man what was the definition of present. And he told him, yes, I have entertained Fani, but not while I was married or not while I was in the house with my wife at the time. That's what I got. Let's get into Mr. Floyd, y'all. Let's go. This is a very formidable man, right? He is a former judge. He is shooting a movie about his life. He has lived in Africa. He wanted to retire there, but he had to come back against his will. He had to move to Atlanta because of COVID and everything, and I think Fani wanted him to be closer. And, he felt crazy about his daughter being threatened on a daily basis. Like, so much that he didn't even want to have a relationship with her because he didn't want anything to happen. Child, let's get into Mr. Floyd.
So, Ms. Merchant.
Yes. I just want to know when you were prepped by the lawyers, when this prep session was.
I just got off the plane on, what was it, Tuesday night? I think I was probably drooling at the mouth. I was so tired. So it must have been, I got in Wednesday. It must have been Wednesday.
Okay. And did you talk about any of the testimony from yesterday or watch any news reports or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. You can't cut the TV on without seeing this. The first thing, and I listen to conservative radio a lot, and, last night for 5 hours, all they talked about was this case.
So you were aware of what the testimony your daughter gave yesterday was?
Yeah, unless you don't cut the radio on, unless you don't cut the television on, unless you don't read the AJC or any other, the New York Times or whatever, which I do every day.
I need Ms. Merchant to go to her nearest Target and fill out an application because that's what she does not need to be in a court of law. She just absolutely does not. And even though this man is a former officer of the court, this is his daughter that's on television every day and everybody's talking about her. Of course he's going to watch that. Let's get into Mr. Floyd talking about Fani and Nathan.
To confide in you about her romantic life at all.
No, and I haven't confided in her about mine before when I had one, okay?
Child, we're only in the second month of 2024, right? It is clearly the year for exposure. So I would just ask that you all get your affairs in order just in case you might need to make some apologies. And if I need to make some, I'm sorry, okay? I whatever it was, I didn't mean to do it. Because, child, this is rough. It's your girl, Millie Chun. And Fani now, they keeping it rolling. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.